Looking at this episode on a surface level, it does feel like a lot has happened here. But once we start digging, it's not that deep really. The majority of the things that we have heard today are myths and folklore that simply serve as fluff to the setting of the story, but nothing that would advance the plot. Given that, what are the things then that do advance the plot in this episode? The most notable scene goes to the eventual goodbye between Toko and Kanata. We started the story with Toko's goal of returning Kanata to his family, and now that we're here, one might think that the story is over and it's time to pack up. And I can't blame you if you think that way, because honestly, I thought of this goodbye as the actual ending. And everything else after this is just allotted screen time for all of the lore that the writers added throughout the episodes. They have to animate those prophecies at some point at least, so they probably saved the big set pieces for last. Outside of Toko and Kanata's farewell, we also had the sudden appearance of one of the members of the Divine Clans before the farewell. We never got this member's name, but one thing was made certain in his brief cameo. The Divine Clans have Koshi's number now. There's no doubt about that, and it's safe to assume that our boy can't just snoop around anymore without arousing the clan's interest. But Divine Clans aside, the most notable scene today in our after story, at least for me, is that we finally got our first look at the Millennial Comet, which is also known as the Flickering Flame. This is important because now that Toko's main quest is done, the Flickering Flame can now ask us, the audience, a question of utmost importance. If the prophecy that one has to catch the Flickering Flame to become the Lord of the Fire Hunters is true, how can anyone get a hold of this satellite from a bygone age? The Divine Clans aren't so fond of the idea of the Flickering Flame activating again, so the soon-to-be Lord might not come from their side. Also, even if you assume that everyone else can be a candidate for the prophesized title, the obvious problem right now is that there is zero indication that the current population has the technology to send someone to space. So, if sending someone to space is not viable, the only workaround that I can think of is creating or finding the technology that could control the Flickering Flame from Earth. Essentially, remote controlling the satellite. And until we see the rest of the series, we don't have anything to work with here at the moment, and all we can do is wait. That's just how it is. And with that said, that's basically it for me for this episode. I thank you all for watching and see you guys in the next episode.